Hello and welcome to a little bit of campsite cooking with the Eat Local team. This time of year, usually I'm at the National Feast of Lanterns with the club doing cooking demos with all the members and having quite a good time. Usually 4 cooking demos a day, lots of things going on, obviously very different this year and I'm really missing it. So I am delighted to say that we're actually doing some cooking on a campsite again in the wonderful Winchcombe site in Gloucestershire. The sun's been shining. Luckily it's going behind the cloud now because it's getting quite hot. And we may be low on team members, but we're high on camera numbers. So this is the first time we're giving a go of shooting these live. So what that means is you get all the chaos that usually takes place when I'm doing a cooking demo live in front of our members at our events. So here goes. If I get a fit of the giggles, if I drop things, burn things, it's all going to be included. So bear with me and laugh along because that's going to reveal my true chaotic nature. So I am going to be cooking some smoky, spicy king prawns. It's a really simple recipe, probably one of the easiest recipes that I make on a campsite. It's great for lunch or a light supper. And here we go. Right, so very, very simple. First of all, I've got a can of tomatoes into my saucepan, and into that I'm going to put a teaspoon of caster sugar and then a really good generous seasoning of salt and pepper. Now any sounds that you hear going on behind me are just campsite sounds, so hopefully it will make you feel a little bit familiar of all those times you've missed over the summer. I think someone's actually mowing a lawn over there, so we'll just roll with it. Hoping actually a member's going to get nosy enough to come over and start talking to me, because often that happens when we do these on the campsite. Right, this is red wine vinegar. If you're not carrying that around, then any kind of vinegar will do, but only about a tablespoon. That's kind of a cook's measurement, isn't it? Because I don't often measure things out. It's more of a pinch of this and a slosh of that. So I'm going to put my gas ring on. This is quite a simple recipe that you could cook if you just had a single gas stove, so brilliant if you're in a tent or something like that, or equally if you've got a dual gas stove in your unit, your camper van or your caravan. Where's my, right, so I'm giving that a really good mix, and into that I'm going to put, sounds a lot but you do need it, 3 cloves of garlic. I've got a couple there. Now I use one of these lemon zesters as my garlic mincer. I'm not brilliant at chopping garlic hugely finely, so I take my chances with my fingers and do this. And also, it sort of minces it up enough so you don't get massive lumps of garlic in your sauce. Now I've got that on quite high, so the idea being with this tin of tomatoes, it's going to bubble away and thicken, which is what I want. There we go. And then the spicy element of my smoky spicy prawns with red chilli. I've got about a quarter there, but go as hot as you dare. And then give that a good mix. And then you want that to bubble away. I'm actually going to put a lid on this, if I can find it. Let's have a little look around for the lid. There it is. Here we go. Now that needs about 20 minutes, so we're going to let that bubble. Now usually at this point in my cooking demos, that's when I get people from the crowd to come up or to open a little bit of conversation, and bar calling somebody over, I think I'll just have to witter away for a little while. One of the things that often happens at the events, there's lots of new campers as well, so they'll always come up and ask for advice and top tips for cooking on a campsite. After all, most people think, oh, a barbecue, sausages, burgers. At the club we make a real effort to try and encourage people to look at cooking as one of the really good fun aspects of camping. It's just one thing that's particularly lovely, standing outside your unit, whatever it is, watching the world go by and putting together something, and if you drop stuff on the floor, who cares? So it's a bit, it suits a chaotic mind like me, but also a nosy one. This isn't real wine because it's just squash because we're in the middle of the day, but stand around with a glass of wine and watch things happen and be really nosy, because that's also what camping is about, and we all know that. So I'm cooking, a lot of people come up and ask the units and things that I cook on. So this is called a 2 Cooks Deluxe. This is made by Caravanning. These are really handy items because it comes with like a flat plate that I can replace that pot stand with, and it also comes with a griddle plate. So I could be cooking something like some chicken. I could be grilling some chicken, cooking some rice, and that's all the unit I need. So it's very handy. Other top tip I always say if you're just starting out in camping is to pack a store cupboard before you leave. So the idea being, I mean, I've had this for years, so a sturdy bag is brilliant, or a box, but something that packs really well. I've got a camper van, so I don't have that much room, and this is so handy. Go everywhere with this, and this has got all the essentials in, things like favourite spices. It's got tins of lentils, it's got sugar, it's got flour, I've got some lime juice there, some rice, a little bit of mustard powder, honey, vinegars, all of those things fit in this bag. So you can just go out and maybe find a market, buy a bit of fish, buy some steak, and you can come back and you've got pretty much everything to make marinades or to make a complete meal. So I would recommend, if there's one top camping tip for cooking, then that's it. It's my store cupboard. So I would definitely recommend that. So whilst my sauce is bubbling away, I'm going to cook my prawns. So I've got about 200 grams of raw king prawns there. Now, I've driven up the M5 with these, so I kept them frozen. By the time I've arrived here in Winchcombe, they're defrosted. So actually taking meat and seafood frozen from your base is a good idea. Also keeps everything else in the cool box cold. So I've got about 200 grams of prawns there. I'm using rapeseed oil because I like British products. So about a tablespoon or so of oil there. And then the lovely smoky flavour, which is smoked paprika. So be quite generous with that. I just love the smell of this. I use this in a lot of things, even if you're just making either a chilli or a bolognese or something like that. It really just adds a depth of flavour to it. Right, I'm going to give those a little mix around. Smells great already. And then, so that's lovely orangey colour, all coated with oil and paprika, and then I'm just going to pop it into my frying pan. Sizzle, sizzle, shrimps on the barbie. They will take about 3 minutes on each side at the most. Keep an eye on them, and through that orangey colour you need to see if they go pink, and that's how you can tell that they are cooked. So the prawns are beautifully cooked now, and that sauce has been going for about 20 minutes. And you can see how it's really thickened and sort of reduced. So that would be really nice to spoon onto the flatbreads. So I'm going to take that off, and I'm just going to warm the flatbreads. Now I do this in a dry frying pan. So you just want to warm it, you don't want to toast it, you don't want it to go crunchy. Now another top tip for campsite cooking is that this is how I make toast in the morning, because I'm in a camper van and I don't bring a toaster along. So when my kids are braying for toast, just get the frying pan out. Obviously no oil or anything, just put your bread on there and it will go nice and toasty. So that's all I want these, is to just warm. There we go. Which that's done. Turn it off. And then to serve, a little bit of salad, just to look posh. Hands up who thinks I actually put the salad on when I'm cooking for real with my family. There we go. Especially if you've got an 11-year-old boy who would run a mile at seeing something green on his plate. So got my prawns on, and then just spoon some of this really lovely, rich and spicy sauce over the top and some on the side to use your flatbread to mop it up. And then I always serve this with I do actually serve this with a little bit of lemon, because that kind of really brings the flavours out. So there you go. That's a spicy and smoky prawns on flatbread with a rich tomato sauce and a bit of